Do you know the way? This is the way. Hey guys, this is Stranger Frozen Wish to use here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I'm going to be doing a review on the Star Wars: The Mandalorian Grogu. I'm personally more used to calling this The Mandalorian Grogu, as this movie was originally supposed to be titled The Mandalorian Grogu, but they just slapped the Star Wars title on here last minute. So I'm not sure if I'll title this Star Wars: The Mandalorian Grogu movie review or just The Mandalorian Grogu movie review. My title, but you'll see. You'll see eventually when you're watching this video. So Star Wars: The Mandalorian Grogu is the 12th theatrically released live action Star Wars movie overall, and is the third live action Star Wars spin-off, as well as the first Star Wars theatrically released Star Wars movie in almost 7 years. I wouldn't say 7 years because Rise of Skywalker technically released in December that year, and we're in May, so 6.5 years. I'll just say, and it is based off the awesome TV series, The Mandalorian, and it is directed by Jon Favreau, the same director as Elf, at the first two Iron Man movies, and Chef, and also that shitty Lion King remake. And it stars Pedro Pascal, Jeremy Allen White, Sigourney Weaver, Dave Filoni, Steve Blum, Martin Scorsese, etc. And so the film tells a story taking place after the evil empire has fallen. Well, according to the synopsis, but it technically takes place after the events of The Mandalorian Season 3, and Imperial warlords have scattered throughout the galaxy. The New Republic is forming, led by Sigourney Weaver's character, Colonel Ward, and the Mandalorian now works for Colonel Ward, as she sends Mando on missions to find out to find dirty and expose what the Empire, what the villains have been planning. As you know, there's still a bit of the Empire out there, and they haven't really been fallen. And when it comes to this film, Mando's main mission is to rescue Rotta the Hutt after he was kidnapped and imprisoned and as it finds out, Mando is Mando, how do I say this? Mando finds out that Rotta is a part of this gladiator match bought by this criminal warlord, Lord Janu, yeah. But after you're rescuing Rotta and taking him back to his uncle, I think the twins, I'm not sure if it's uncle or something like that, yeah. But as it turns out, the Hutt twins are actually evil and the main villains of the movie. After it was revealed that they wanted Rotta so that they can have him dead, and so they also do dump Mando's ass. So it is up to Grogu. We all know him as Mando's psychic to rescue him. Now, sorry, by the way, guys, I am not spoiling the movie. If you're wondering, I don't think anybody would have been surprised that the Hutt twins are the villains of the movie. And basically, the Hutt twins, I'm not sure if they actually had a name, but basically, for context, they were the ones who ordered Mando's helmet to be removed and have his face shown, and also was the one who hired Embo to hunt down Mando. So yeah, now yeah, it's been, I cannot believe it's been that long since we got a Star Wars movie in cinemas. Like, I still remember the last time I saw a Star Wars movie, The Rise of Skywalker, in theaters. It was a long time ago. I mean, it was like it feels very long, but at the same time, not so long. Like time felt like it's been running fast. But I remember seeing that film very close to the pandemic. It was a very interesting cinema experience. And yeah, now yeah, you've seen my review of all the Star Wars movies. I already completed my Star Wars reviews, the live action ones. Well, I still need to do a rant on Star Wars: The Clone Wars 2008, as that's I want to rant on the true worst Star Wars movie ever, but I'll get to that in the future. But right now, it still feels complete that I was able to review all the prequel trilogy films, all the original trilogy films, and all the Disney Star Wars. So, and not only were they for the respective marathon, I reviewed Rogue One leading up to Andor. I reviewed Last Jedi for its 5th anniversary, and now, yeah. Now, as for my thoughts on the Mandalorian series, I did rewatch this show in preparation for the Mandalorian Grogu movie, and I do have some thoughts in it. Now, I love seasons 1 and 2. I think seasons 1 and 2 are amazing. I think they are masterpieces. And honestly, Mandalorian season 1 and 2 is arguably my favorite Star Wars show. It's between that or Andor. Technically, after I rewatched them, I actually did say I actually initially said, you know what, that's my favorite Star Wars show again. But then I thought about it, I reflected on it, and I'm like, maybe Andor is the true best Star Wars show, because Andor is just a whole it's on a whole nother level of masterpiece. But I need to rewatch the Star Wars shows. I think Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka needs a rewatch, because it is actually really hard to decide on what is my true favorite Star Wars show. Like on days I think it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. On other days I think it's Ahsoka. On days I think it's Andor. So yeah, that's pretty much it's really hard to decide. Acolyte though, no, that is not my favorite Star Wars show. I think Acolyte is decent, but one of the weaker Star Wars shows. Although it does not deserve the hate. I did review The Mandalorian season 3 when it first came out, and I did praise it at the time. However, on rewatch, I gotta admit, I actually will agree with everyone else now that The Mandalorian season 3 is the weakest season. Now I will say this though, does the Mandalorian season 3 deserve the hate it gets? No, it's a great season. I think I don't think it's that bad. Though yes, the Jack Black and Lizzo stuff, yeah, that deserves the hate. But there's some such noteworthy things to say about season 3 as well. Like the interesting storyline. The story is still pretty interesting. And also I love such revelations, especially with events. I love how it tied. I love how I also love how we got to see Jar Jar's actor back without the whole Jar Jar face. Like that, I forgot his name, but that Jar Jar actor, yeah, he certainly deserved that kind of justice, and he made fans cheer. That was a masterpiece episode, and that one episode where they showed a flashback to the execution of Order 66 from the events of Revenge of the Sith is up there as one of the best Mandalorian episodes. But it's not a 5 out of 5, yeah. If I were to update my rating of The Mandalorian Season 3, I would say 4 out of 5. It's still great, but my thoughts just decline from there. But because Mandalorian Season 3 was divisive and not well received, the expectations for this movie was very low. And plus the fact that it was an idea that nobody would saw coming. I don't think anybody asked for a Mandalorian movie, as in a theatrical movie. I still remember having conflicting thoughts when I first heard about this. I was actually in New York, like in January 2024. I was in my trip to New York. I was sitting down sitting down in this place or resting, using my phone, scrolling through social media, like taking a break from all the walking and touring and all that stuff. And then I came across this news that they were going to be making a Mandalorian movie called and they already had the title The Mandalorian Grogu, and I was like, I'm excited, but is this a good idea, or is just going to be just the TV show again? I'm just stretching to a movie, but I'm a Mandalorian fan, so that's the reason why I'm supporting this. And I also felt that way when watching the teaser trailer for this movie back when it came out back in September 2025. I was like, yeah, this looks good, but this is good, but I don't know if I'm gonna love this or I don't know if I'm gonna praise this. But then the second trailer came out, and I was like, okay, now I'm fully excited for this. I'm fully on board because yeah, I love the second trailer, and the final trailer, yeah, is just as awesome. And yes, I get the why people had low expectations. It's because Star Wars doesn't feel as eventful as it could have been, and yeah, the Rise of Skywalker pretty much killed anyone's hope for Star Wars, and the Mandalorian season 3 killed people's interest in Mandalorian because it was not well received. And then you got people saying that this was making a Mandalorian movie was a bad idea. And it was not listed on people's it was not listed on Fandangos and other professional websites most anticipated movies list, where they would tally the votes on what movie they're most excited for this summer. Mandalorian Grogu didn't make the list, which was telling on how little interest people had with this, and how I was one of the only people who was genuinely excited for this. And then you got the reports that this was going to be the biggest box office bomb in Star Wars history, even dethroning Solo. And then the reviews came out, and they were unfortunately mixed. I was hoping that maybe the critics and fans would be surprised by this, but no. Critics did not like this, and the fans the fans who watched it and then just say it's shit. They did not bother giving this a chance. They just said, "Oh, this is Star Wars, so I'm going to hate it." And then they hate it just because they wanted to, man. So yeah, but I had the pleasure of seeing the Mandalorian Grogu for myself yesterday. And by the way, guys, I actually this is the first time in a while I actually reviewed a movie this early, like just this shortly after seeing it for the first time. Normally, I would need another rewatch in order for me to review a new blockbuster. But with Mandalorian Grogu, I could have done the same in Mandalorian Grogu, just wait until rewatch and then review it. But the reason why I'm doing this now is because how do I say this? I'm going on vacation next week, so I will be seeing the Mandalorian Grogu again on Sunday, and then after that, in the following days, I'm going to be going on vacation. So yeah. Now, after seeing the Mandalorian Grogu, I gotta say, I loved it. I don't care what anyone else says. Yeah, it's kind of a shame that this is the state of Star Wars now, where people will just hate a new Star Wars movie just because it's cool to hate Star Wars. That's a shame. I mean, what happened to Star Wars being an event? Yes, I get where people are coming from about the fact that this had the feels of a Disney Plus TV series condensed as a theatrical film, and it did not, and it's not really an event Star Wars film. But from the way I see it, how I saw the film, it felt like a legit movie worth seeing on the big screen. I know when a theatrically released movie feels like a streaming when I see one. I think there could have been some examples, but I can't really name one on the top of my head right now. Yeah, but the one did not feel like it. The story didn't feel like an overstretched episode like the show. It's now, yes, the movie is not trying to be ambitious or deep, but it's not trying to do that. But rather, it's trying to it's accomplished It accomplished telling a simple story that fits well with a theatrical film, despite it being a self-contained story that doesn't worry about connecting with the larger world of Star Wars. The characters are all memorable, likable, and get their development. I love seeing Mando and his aura forming. I think this is Mando at his best yet. Like Pedro Pascal crushes it, and I love how this Mandalorian is has more feelings and more emotions. Not like in the show where it's like, oh, so tough, oh, shoot. Like he acts like and doesn't feel remorse. I know bounty hunters are like that. Like they're just like, oh, blah blah blah, shoot. Oh, and it feels nothing for anyone. But Mando is not like that, and that's what makes Mando stand out from other bounty hunters. He he's the kind of bounty hunters you connect. He's the kind of bounty hunter who you connect with, even if you typically don't connect with bounty hunters. And Mando, and I think we can all agree that Mando is the best bounty hunter, even over Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Like, who the fuck remembers Jango Fett? He's I cannot stand Jango Fett, honestly. Yeah, and I also love seeing such side characters as well. Zeb is great. Like a fan favorite Clone Wars character, and I actually forgot that he was in season 3 until I rewatched it. Like I thought that Zeb was just going to be a character that was newly introduced in this movie. Like I mean like Mando and Zeb are gonna cross paths, but yeah, Zeb was actually in season 3. Believe it or not. Excuse me. And he's great. And excuse me. Sorry. Sorry. What was I saying? Oh yeah, he's freaking Zeb. He's. I really enjoyed Zeb's presence. I mean, he doesn't do much in the film, but I mean, I like how he's important in terms of just being the third wheel of Mando. Like when it comes to Mando's existence, no Mando's assistant. He's like part of the group, and I like that. I love Rotta too. Rotta is probably my favorite Hutt. Now I will admit this though. This is not a flaw. This is not a criticism of the film, but I feel like Rotta needed time to get used to. When it comes to Rotta's design, it took me a while to get used to his design. But never once did I feel like it took away. I mean, like I saw that as a flaw. Not really. Yeah, and Colonel Ward is great. It's nice to see Sigourney Weaver in this one, and yeah, she may not have a lot of screen time, but she is important to the film. And minor spoilers ahead, but Colonel Ward is a resistance fighter. Like, seeing Sigourney Weaver as a resistance pilot, let alone the captain of the resistance, yeah, it's just great. It's just awesome to see. I want to see more Colonel Ward. Like, maybe she could appear in Starfighter, but they did confirm that Starfighter was going to be a very self-contained story, just like this film. Except that, well, yeah, this film does have connections with parts of Star Wars. It was said that Starfighter isn't going to be that. It's going to be like its own thing. So I don't think they're going to bring in characters like Colonel Ward into this. The Hutt twins, the main villains of the movie, remind me a lot of the Lingsley family from Zootopia too. Like, they basically remind me of Milton Lingsley and the other two Lingsleys. Yeah, you're probably gonna be wondering, does that mean Rotta is a twist villain? Because the Rottas, the Hutt's twins give you vibes of the Lingsley family. Well, no. I actually assumed that they were going to make Rotta the twist villain or something, but honestly, thank God they didn't, because see, Rotta being a twist villain is something I did not want this movie to do. So imagine the Lingsley family if basically Palbert was a hero and he didn't and he fought against his own family. Yeah, that's what the Hutt twins are basically like. But my favorite of this movie's villains is hands down Endo. Oh man, he was such a terrifying force of nature. Every time he appears on screen, the film gets dark. Oh, and speaking of that, one of the things I hear from other people about this movie is that, oh, it's for kids, it's made for kids. No, it's not. Yes, it's watchable for kids. Yes, kids can watch this, but I can literally say the same thing about every other Star Wars movie. This is not made for kids. Yeah, just because Grogu is in this and kids buy Grogu toys doesn't mean they made this movie for kids. What keeps us from being very kid friendly is that it's about the violence and the fact that there's scary creatures and there is one jump scare in the film. That's in the third act. There, yeah, one of the scary looking creatures made a jump scare. It didn't scare me. The jump scare didn't scare me, but I think kids will get jumps. Kids will probably get frightened by that one jump scare. Oh yeah. The best character in the film is obviously Grogu, the one character who made the Mandalorian just such a popular show to begin with. One of the main concerns people had with the film was that it was just going to be, oh, Grogu doing baby stuff and showing off to the fans just for the sake of buying Grogu toys. Well, that's not how they treated Grogu in this film. Grogu's character works so well because of his growth. He starts up doing something similar things in the show where he just does dumb stuff and doesn't listen to Mando a lot. But as the film goes on, Grogu develops into a more mature, independent being up to the point where he becomes capable of taking care of himself. There is a whole plotline of Grogu being alone, and although he may have been in the film for fan service purposes, it works because it shows his independence and bravery. The visuals are great. Now, not one of the most stunning Star Wars movies, but still great for Star Wars standards, especially in terms of the creature designs and the production designs of the planets. I don't know I don't know the planet names in this, but this one planet where it serves as one of the pivotal plot points in the film is one of my favorite planets yet. Like, seriously, if I were to choose a Star Wars planet I'd love to live in, that planet would be one of them. Yeah, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The one with the bar, the one with the bar and the gladiator. Yeah, that planet. What else? Oh, but the best thing about the film, without question, is the action scenes. There is plenty, and I mean plenty of action in this, up to the point where it's almost non-stop action. That opening fight sequence is one of the best opening sequences in a Star Wars movie, hands down. And I don't think anybody would have guessed that certain opening scene would have been the opening scene of the film, unless if you watched that special look at the Mandalorian Grogu on Disney Plus. Yes, I did watch that, and yeah, they did show a specific clip from the opening 10 minutes, and yeah, it that was the opening scene right there. And what else? Oh, and I thought the opening scene was going to be the best scene in the film, but then you got other contenders like that gladiator match and plenty of other action scenes. One of the highlights is seeing the resistance pilots in action at the climax with Colonel Ward. Yeah, that was great. Oh, and also the dragon snake as well. That was awesome. And yeah, the dragon snake is one of the things that makes this movie not very kid friendly. Like not as kid friendly as people are making it out to be. Oh, by the way, the score from Ludwig Göransson is electrifying. He is the perfect successor to John Williams and proves himself as one of the best composers working today with scores like Black Panther, Tenet, Oppenheimer, and this film and the upcoming Odyssey. I'm sure the Odyssey score is going to be peak. Yeah, Ludwig is right up there with Hans Zimmer and John Williams as one of the best composers today. And I think Ludwig Göransson should compose more Star Wars movies in the future. And by the way, guys, speaking of the Hans Zimmer mention, one of the things I want to see in Star Wars in the future is Hans Zimmer composing a Star Wars score. If Ludwig Göransson can pull off a Star Wars score perfectly, and composers like Michael Giacchino got to compose Star Wars, How about let's make Hans Zimmer do it? I want to see how a Hans Zimmer Star Wars score would sound like. I'm sure it'll sound amazing. So overall, Star Wars The Mandalorian Grogu is a perfect way to bring Star Wars back on the big screen. It feels like classic Star Wars, very reminiscent of Return of the Jedi. Although it's not quite in my top 5 Star Wars movies, it's still pretty close. And this would be my second favorite Disney Star Wars movie, second only behind Rogue One. I prefer this over the sequel trilogy. Although, granted, if I didn't have flaws with The Last Jedi, I would have preferred Last Jedi over this one. But I had some flaws with The Last Jedi, and this one, I had nothing to criticize about this movie. Besides, getting a little needing to get used to the CGI of Rotta the Hutt. It's also certainly better than Solo for sure. This would be my second favorite movie of May 2026 behind Obsession, which I saw coming after seeing Obsession, despite Mando and Grogu being my most anticipated movie of the month. But this is a close second. And by the way, guys, I plan on reviewing Obsession in the future, either when I see the movie in theaters on June 1 or 2, or and yes, by the way, I watched the Obsession online, by the way, if you're wondering, but the movie doesn't come out in theaters for another week in my area, or during Halloween. Just like with 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and Send Help, which I'm reserving my reviews of them for Halloween. However, I'm going to go as far as saying I honestly prefer this over The Mandalorian show. That's right, this is the best thing to come out of Mandalorian yet. And I'll say this is Jon Favreau's best directed film since Elf. I'm not sure which is better, this or Elf, but yeah, it's up there. And I prefer this over the first Iron Man, by the way. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, I highly recommend giving this a chance. And don't let your hatred towards Disney Star Wars, especially the sequel trilogy, sway you. Star Wars is not dead yet. And although I don't think this will objectively save Star Wars due to the mixed reception and the box office forecast to be the biggest flop in Star Wars yet, there is still hope for Star Wars. It's not dead yet. Next year, we're getting Star Wars Starfighter. There's a good chance Starfighter could actually be well received from both critics and fans. And to me, yeah, I was always more hyped for Starfighter than this, and I consider it as my most anticipated upcoming Star Wars movie. That could top Rogue One as my favorite Disney Star Wars movie yet. If you don't like this movie, just don't jump into the conclusion that Star Wars is officially done. Star Wars is a Star Wars film that will make or break Star Wars for you. But to me, I am highly confident that Starfighter will make Star Wars. So with that said, guys, I'm going to give The Mandalorian Grogu a 5 out of 5 stars. So also for my review of The Mandalorian Grogu, what are your thoughts on the movie? Would you agree with me that this is better than the show? You know what? Maybe I won't ask that because I don't think I'm not sure when exactly I'll upload this, but I don't think I don't think any of you would have actually seen it yet by now. But let me tell you, did my review of the movies sell you on the film and made you interested, or are you still not interested in watching this? So comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for a surprise review that I'll do tomorrow. I won't tell you what it is yet. You'll just see for yourself. So yeah, bye guys.